we're losing enthusiasm, I have to say. Moving on. This is the Ryanair network. You've seen it before, except it's now bigger than the last time. The additions are that since we last spoke in September, we've announced a base in Naples and a base in, if I can find it in the middle of all of this, Frankfurt, Maine, in addition to our airport in Frankfurt town. So that's two very significant announcements. We have become friends in Germany with Fraport. It remains to be seen how friendly we will become in Greece if and when they take over the airports. Okay, moving on. Very strong position across Europe, number 2 in Greece, number 1 in most of the other main markets, particularly the big tourist markets of Spain and Italy, where we are growing again. In Spain, the Prime Minister announced that the charges would drop at the airports by 11% over the next 5 years. In fact, 2.5% every year for 5 years, which is a great opportunity for airlines to plan, and therefore in many of the Spanish airports we will be growing by, and some of the bigger airports we will be growing by as much as 50% in Spain in the next year, although we're already the biggest airline there. Moving on. We're going to grow to 200 million passengers, leaving Lufthansa and all the rest of the world behind. 1 in 3 of all the new short-haul passengers will be Ryanair. Moving on. And we continue to work on our Always Getting Better program. We have, when did we introduce the Greek app? In December, so a new Greek app. Hopefully you've used it. Hopefully you find it very helpful. Moving on. And of course, you know, the low-cost product is highly desired all across Europe. 30% of Greeks favour low cost and use low cost, but still, look at Spain and Italy. It's 50%, so we could almost double the penetration of low cost in Greece. Moving on. This is the summer, which is going very well, in part because we cut out some of the weaker parts of the programme. We're not flying to Kos this summer because of the weakness in demand last year. We will look at it again next year. We will look at Kos.
Next summer?
Yeah. Well, all of our aircraft are now on sale, so we have no capacity to add to Kos this year. But last year, if you recall, we offered to continue Kos into October if the taxes were removed, and they weren't, so we didn't. When I spoke to you in September, we were going to grow in Thessaloniki by 14% and add a $100 million aircraft. We didn't, for reasons I'll come to, which also had a very strong effect on Athens, where we have reduced this summer by 17%. Moving on. You know, one of the challenges for Greece is that all of the growth seems to occur in June, July and August, pretty much, and it's deserted thereafter. Moving on. You've seen this slide before, but it's still I think it's worth repeating. Look at Athens, look at Dublin. Anyone who's been there loves Dublin, it's great. I'm from Dublin. But we don't have sunshine, we don't have classical sites, we don't have an island network, we have a much smaller population, but twice as many EU routes, almost 50% more passengers, and if Athens performed at its potential, it should have 40 million passengers now, but it doesn't, which would be 5 million tourists, close to 3 billion in extra tourist spend every year, and 15,000 more jobs. But anyway, I think it's ready to go back one. Key issue here is, between the government tax and Athens Airport, that's what we pay, 39 euros. Dublin, which is expensive by the way, 17 euros. You can see where the problem is. Same problem as I mentioned in 2014, and 15 and 16. Every year.
How much do you pay for Frankfurt?
I'm not going to tell you.
Why?
Because that would really, really annoy Lufthansa. And by the way, that is a reasonable objective, annoying Lufthansa, but we can find other ways of doing it rather than revealing our secrets. But the answer is substantially less than in Athens. So, mixed news for Athens this winter. We will have 4 new routes, which is good news. They will be low frequency routes, 2 a week. I'm going to name 2 today, and we'll name 2 more when we announce at the other end in the other airports. Krakow and Katowice. We will connect twice a week with Athens. We'll have 20 routes, but we will be cutting our total traffic in Athens by 22%.
Santorini, Berlin?
Santorini, Berlin?
Yes. Would be a direct line?
No. We can't get slots in Santorini. Yeah. Santorini is controlled by, effectively, once Aegean and Olympic were allowed merged, they just control it. So, Mixed news, 4 new routes, 2 of them I'll name today, Katowice and Krakow, 2 new markets into Poland. That should be a good thing.
Yeah.
Should be good, but we will be cutting overall by 22%. So Ryanair is not prepared to carry on taking more and more commercial experiments in Athens with large volumes, particularly if it's going to be 39 euros. Anyway, mixed news. Moving on. The effect of all this is that we have a 10% cut in Greece this winter. Moving on. A big part of this is also the Thessaloniki shambles. I think shambolic sounds like it's a Greek word. Is it a Greek word? Shambolic? It means
Yes.
not symbolic now, shambolic.
No, no.
Shambolic is like incompetent. Incompetent. A mess.
No, it's not Greek.
It's not, okay. But it certainly applies to the Thessaloniki situation. Right, for some reason they want to do something with the runway in Thessaloniki. We were told it would become fully available for this summer. In March, then it was June. Based on June, we said fine. We will grow Thessaloniki by 14%. We'll add another aircraft and we'll really grow there. A week later, the HCAA sent around a note to say, actually, no, it won't be fully available in the summer. So we thought about it, and to protect the international connections, we cut a large part of the Athens route to Thessaloniki. Just after, a week after we made this decision, the HCAA came and said, actually, it will be open, but it will be closed in the winter. So it seems like every time we receive a piece of information and act on it, there's another piece of information. So that is the definition of shambolic.
Yeah.
Okay? Which means that instead of growing by 14% in Thessaloniki, we're reducing by whatever that number was earlier on. Okay. So, in summary, here we are, same message, low fares, they work, the Greeks like them, 30% penetration in Greece, could be 50. We have 4 new routes, Katowice, Krakow, and 2 interesting ones as well that will follow. And the opportunity to continue, but please, please, government, don't repeat the first Athens mistake, don't repeat the regional airports mistake where you just sell away the keys to the kingdom and make it more expensive to get into Greece. Spain is reducing its charges, as I said, by 11% over the next 5 years. Amsterdam, reducing its charges by 7.5%. All the German airports are reducing their terminal ATC charges by, I think it's 9%, but I could be wrong, this year. Meanwhile, prices go up here. Pretty stupid. So we say, as we've always said, extend the concession at Athens Airport, but demand passenger numbers, not money. I've read in the newspaper that it's 850 million. So what? 850 million will be long forgotten. A year from now, no one will remember where that 850 went. Whereas, if they were to say to Athens Airport, deliver us 40 million passengers in 10 years, and you can have the concession, that would work for everyone. Like, that's not a lot. That's 20 million passengers in 10 years. Ryanair, one airline, will add 80 million passengers in the next 8 years. So our proposition isn't unreasonable. And please, we always end in sale, 1999.